For a long time, the British media has done nothing but create headlines blared with speculation and gossip about Harry and Meghan, especially when it comes to the question of whether Harry will ever come back as a working royal. The British media has made it a norm to associate terms such as desperate, snubbed, and olive branches with Prince Harry and his desire to go back to the royal family. But what is the truth behind those headlines? Jennie Bond recently said,
I can't see Harry returning to that, really, no. And yes, I do miss him. I mean, Harry was the most popular royal, wasn't he, a few years ago? And having watched him grow up and known him just a little bit, you know, he was a wonderful little boy and a charming, jovial adolescent. At least that's what we saw. And he was brilliant for the royal family. He did bring a natural common touch, a relatability that would have been a great asset had he stayed.
And I believe she admitted what many British media journalists and outlets are not willing to admit. They loved having access to him and writing all kinds of fictional stories about him. Harry charmed them. He was not just relatable with the public, but also with the journalists he met. Then he got married, and pleasing the British media and public was no longer his priority. His young family was. The British media felt abandoned and hurt. Deep down, they know that no matter how much they miss Prince Harry, he is never coming back. So instead of letting him go, they started to portray him as a spoiled prince, ungrateful for his privileged position. When Harry painted the truth for them, they did not want to listen. In truth, Harry's relationship with the media had been strained for years. He witnessed firsthand the destructive power of intrusive reporting. The constant scrutiny and often negative coverage had taken a toll on not just his mental health, but that of his wife, Meghan. The media's role in shaping public perception of Harry and mostly Meghan cannot be overstated. Their narratives often lacked nuance and understanding. The constant speculation and judgment fueled a toxic atmosphere that neither Harry nor Meghan could thrive in. And if this toxicity was destroying their lives as adults, could Archie, their newborn, survive in it? They had to leave, and Harry hoped that both the royal family and British media would not just understand, but respect his decision.
We were forced to leave. We left in 2020. We moved out, we fled my home country. We moved to California. And for 12 months during lockdown, where we said literally nothing, it was relentless. And that was a real eye-opener for me. I never thought that we'd be away from it completely, but I did think that we would get some form of peace. But that's when I realised that actually our mere existence outside of that institutional control was more of a threat. And, you know, there's a similar thing that happened to my mum as well.
After more than 30 years of service to the monarchy and British public, the British media could not give Harry and Meghan the peace, privacy, and freedom they desired. Instead of thanking him, sharing stories about the positive impact Harry had created during his years as a working royal, the British media repaid him with bitterness, hate, and untrue narratives. But I guess they were taking notes from King Charles. In his book Spare, Harry writes, "I recognize the absurdity. A man in his mid-30s being financially cut off by his father. But Pa wasn't merely my father. He was my boss, my banker, my comptroller, keeper of the purse string throughout my life. Cutting me off, therefore, meant firing me, without redundancy pay, and casting me into the void after a lifetime of service. More, after a lifetime of rendering me otherwise unemployable. On normal occasion, any employee would get some form of compensation, if for nothing else, to thank them for their services towards the monarchy. Therefore, King Charles failing to give Harry a redundancy pay was not just a form of punishment for daring to tread a different path, but it was a way of making it seem like Harry's services had not mattered. And if King Charles, Harry's father and employer, could make Harry's years of service seem worthless, what could prevent the British media from doing the same? The British media joined hands with the royal family to trash Harry's years of serving the monarchy. And even though that was not what he was prepared for, Harry knew that his decision would come at a cost. It would be a journey filled with both pain and growth. His relationship with his family became strained, creating a rift that has been difficult to mend. He faced relentless criticism for speaking his truth and calling out the royal family for letting him down, a bold move for that matter. The media scrutiny has continued to cast a shadow over his life. Despite these challenges, Harry has also experienced significant triumphs, moments of victory that have defined his journey. He has found happiness and contentment in his personal life, a sanctuary away from the public eye. He is a devoted husband and father, roles that bring him immense joy and fulfillment. He has used his platform to raise awareness about important issues, leveraging his influence for positive change. Despite the betrayals from the royal family and British media, Harry remained focused because he knew what he wanted, or as he says, he realized it as he went on.
I'm convinced that 99.9% of people on planet Earth are walking around with some form of unresolved grief, trauma, or loss. And with that comes these filters, of which acts as a fog. And every opportunity we have to be able to clean the windscreen, take the filters away, and actually see life as it is and be able to live a truly authentic life, that, to me, has been the freedom that I didn't even know that I was looking for most of my life.
At the heart of Harry's decision was a deep desire for freedom and independence. He yearned for a life where he could define his own path, free from the constraints of royal duties. He wanted to escape the confines of royal protocol and the heavy expectations placed upon him. His ultimate goal was to live a more authentic life, one that truly reflected his values and beliefs. Harry's search for freedom was also a profound journey of self-discovery and personal growth. He began to speak openly about his struggles with mental health, breaking long-standing taboos. He challenged the stiff upper lip mentality that permeated royal culture, advocating for greater awareness. His honesty resonated with many who admired his courage and vulnerability. For Harry, true freedom meant being true to himself, regardless of external pressures. It also meant prioritizing his own well-being and that of his family, above all else. His decision to not just step back from royal duties but speak his truth through his book Spare was a bold act of self-preservation and courage. It was a clear declaration that he would no longer sacrifice his happiness for the sake of tradition and expectations. Harry's departure from the royal family offers valuable lessons. It highlights the importance of respecting individual choices, even when those choices are difficult to understand. It reminds us that happiness and fulfillment are paramount, and that we all have the right to choose our own path. It is a call for compassion and understanding in a world that often values conformity over individuality. And as the years go by, more British media journalists are beginning to get this.
But as far as Harry's concerned, though, I mean, I hope, and I don't pray, but if I did pray, I would pray that he has a happy life now and all that he wanted, the freedom he craved, and he did crave that freedom. The wife he loves, the children he adores, the family life and that model of domestic bliss that he didn't have in his own adolescence. And I wish him all the best.
They are changing the tide and realizing that even royals deserve a shot at getting their happy ending. Thank you for watching.